What up, this is Rama Screen covering movies, TV, and entertainment, and here's my review of Netflix's new movie, The Last Days of American Crime. Hey, before you watch my review, please subscribe to my channel, press that like button, and ring that bell so you can get notified whenever I post new videos. And if you would like to help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. That's patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this. First up, I would like to say thank you to Netflix for granting me the screener to this new film. Look, I had never read the graphic novel on which this movie is based, so I'm not gonna make comparisons here. But my god, this has got to be one of the worst excuses for an action/heist thriller. The Last Days of American Crime is not only tedious and flat and uninventive, but it's also excessively long. Jesus, man. 148 minutes just for this bullshit? Unbelievable. Years from now, audiences will look back and rightfully laugh at Edgar and Anna's frequent pointless sex scenes and the fact that this movie doesn't know what to do with Sharlto Copley, a talent royally wasted. Based on Rick Remender and Greg Tokeni's graphic novel, scripted by Carl Gajusek and directed by Olivier Megaton, in the last days of American crime, as a final response to terrorism and crime, the US government is now set to broadcast a signal that would make it impossible for anyone to knowingly commit unlawful acts. Citizens are planted this chip that would mess with their brains and freeze them in the act. They are also not allowed to leave the country and cross the border, leading up to the launch of the signal. Edgar Ramirez plays Graham Brick, a career criminal who teams up with a famous gangster's son, Kevin Cash, played by Michael Pitt, and a black market hacker, Shelby Dupre, played by Anna Brewster, in order to pull off the century's biggest heist, their biggest score ever, and hopefully get away scot-free before the signal goes online. Co-starring Sharlto Copley. I was actually intrigued by the concept, another sci-fi dystopian future where the government has an unconstitutional way to handle crime, and so all of the situations in this film lead up to the launch of this system. It's more or less a race against the clock. It kind of sounds familiar, right? Here's the thing. I don't know if this is exactly how it plays out in the graphic novel, but Carl Gajusek's script drags out the entire plot to the point where it purposely screws with your patience. The story could have been a straight shot, but there are so many unnecessary downtimes in between. I mean, halfway through, we kinda already know what the three lead characters are all about. They're not hard to figure out, meaning they're not that sophisticated. You got the brooding alpha male in Edgar. You got the femme fatale in Anna. And you got the loose cannon in Michael Pitt. All three actors faithfully play their part by the stereotypical book, which, by the way, makes their performances trivial and boring, like walking cardboard cutouts, and their characters' motivations are clear-cut, so the script continuing to milk them further as if there's something left to explore when there actually isn't, just borderlines annoying. The world building is far from impressive either. It follows your usual post-apocalyptic manual guide down to the T. It doesn't offer anything new nor ambitious, and it settles for predictable warehouses and dry heat tone. And director Olivier Megaton's action sequences here are just as messy and as mediocre and as poorly coordinated as the ones in his other movies like Taken 3 and Transporter 3. So there's nothing about that should surprise us now. And you will feel sad for Sharlto Copley. What has become of that guy? He was in District 9 for Pete's sake. He was in the A-Team, damn it. Hell, he was even awesome in Elysium. So why, oh why, did he agree to do this movie, The Last Days of American Crime, that basically just throws him in a secondary plot, separate and away from the main characters almost the entire time, is beyond me. One can argue that Sharlto Copley's role here is more psychological. His character represents the society's naivety and blind loyalty, but the way it's executed makes his part seem rudderless, and it ultimately goes nowhere. Overall, The Last Days of American Crime is what you would call a major time waster. Don't get fooled into watching this piece of trash.